doing? Do you need...
Hello, police. Help me, I'm Amanda Berry.
You need police, fire, or ambulance?
I need police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped, and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
Oh.
Gina DeJesus, Michelle Knight, and Amanda Berry were kidnapped in Cleveland and made to live in Ariel Castro's torture chamber for 10 years. He sexually assaulted and tortured them until they were able to flee in 2013. Welcome to Viral Crimes. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. Ariel Castro was born in 1960 in Puerto Rico. He did not begin his horrific acts all of a sudden. It all began with his abusive marriage to Grimilda Figueroa. The two had a tumultuous marriage. She divorced him in the mid-1990s after Castro threatened to kill her and their 4 children and physically abused her, fracturing her nose and dislocating her shoulder twice. He once beat her so severely that a blood clot developed in her brain. A 2005 court filing said that Castro frequently abducts daughters and kept them from Figueroa. Ariel Castro later stated that his acts were motivated by opportunity. He came in contact with these girls, and the perfect situation presented itself, enabling him to seize them for his own purposes. When I picked up the first victim, he stated in court, I didn't even plan it that day. He lured each victim using typical techniques, offering one a pet, someone else a ride, and the final pleading for assistance in locating a missing child. He also exploited the fact that each victim was acquainted with him and one of his kids. Castro's first victim was Michelle Knight. On August 23, 2002, while on her way to a social services meeting regarding reclaiming custody of her infant son, Knight was unable to locate the facility.
Well, I was walking to an appointment for my son, and I didn't know exactly where it was, so I asked for help. And when I did ask for help, the first person didn't know where it was. But the second person that came through the door knew where it was, and it happened to be my friend's father. So I was comfortable enough to get in his car, and he was talking about like different types of things, like his motorcycle. He was talking about puppies, and I was like, oh, so you got puppies at the house? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I could take one home to my son. And then he was like, okay. So we drive to his house, and he goes in to get it. At first, I didn't think nothing of it, him locking the gate. It's a bad neighborhood, so I continued to keep going. And then when we got in the house, it was kind of awkward. I didn't hear puppies. I didn't hear no sounds. So I started to get a little nervous, and then I got even more nervous as we were going up the stairs. And next thing you know, we were in a room, and I never got out.
You never got out?
No.
Knight would remain trapped inside of his home for the next 11 years. His next victim was Amanda Berry. She was searching for a lift after her Burger King shift in 2003 when she recognized Castro and his van.
I had gotten off of work early that day, and I worked at Burger King. I called my sister for a ride. She was at work, and I had called a friend for a ride, and he didn't answer, so I just started walking. And as I was walking, there was a van, and it was in a driveway that I had to go around. I looked up, saw a man and a girl in the van. The girl looked like someone that I had worked with, so, I smiled at them, continued to walk. A couple minutes later, the van pulls up, and he says, do you need a ride? I had my Burger King outfit on, so he noticed that, and he was talking about how his son had used to work there, and that I knew a couple of his kids, so.
So it was a kind of casual conversation?
Yes.
And then, of course, when you get to the house, you immediately know that he's not going to let you out.
Yes.
As with Knight, she would remain in his shackles until 2013. Gina DeJesus, 14, was the final victim. She had been a friend of Castro's daughter, Arlene.
I was walking home from school with his daughter, Ariel Castro, and she used the payphone to call her mom to ask her if she could come to my house, and her mom said no. She went her other way, and I went the other way. He asked me if I seen his daughter, and I said yes, and he was like, can you help me find her? And I was like, yes, and then he didn't turn around. We ended up going to his house.
Just like the others, Gina DeJesus would be trapped in Castro's house for the next 10 years. Ariel Castro's 3 victims' lives were plagued with tragedy and agony. He kept them confined in the basement, eventually allowing them to reside upstairs, still secluded behind closed doors, frequently with openings for food smuggling. They urinated in plastic buckets that Castro seldom cleaned. Castro, to compound matters, enjoyed playing psychological games with his hostages. He occasionally left their door unlocked to lure them with freedom. When he eventually captured them, he'd beat the girls. The women imprisoned on Seymour Avenue saw the world pass them by year in year out. The 3 ladies learned several things during this time: how to deal with Castro, how to gain an understanding of what was going on in the household, and how to conceal their inner emotions. They sensed that he was, above all, a sadist who thrived on their anguish. They developed the ability to conceal their emotions on all occasions, to keep their misery concealed. They continued in this manner for years until Amanda Berry realized she was pregnant as a result of years of sexual assault.
It is early in the morning on Christmas Day, 2006, and Amanda Berry is in labor.
He went and got Michelle, and he got this baby pool because he didn't want, a mess on the bed, so.
She strips off her clothes and gets into that inflatable wading pool.
Michelle was kind of just talking to me like, relax, calm down, you're okay. And he sat in the rocking chair right there just reading this book about birth and stuff.
They cried with relief as the baby arrived in good health. Knight got into a great deal of trouble with Castro. He'd deprive her of food, bound her to a support beam in the basement, and beat and raped her on a regular basis. She was pregnant as a result, at least 5 times, according to her count, but none of them made it to term because Castro wouldn't allow them, abusing her to the point where her stomach was permanently damaged. Meanwhile, Amanda Berry and her daughter, Jocelyn, were held in a small room that was sealed from the outside. While still locked in the house, they'd pretend to stroll to school, Berry doing her greatest to keep some sort of normalcy. It appeared as if the women's incarceration would never end. Any chance they felt of ever being free decreased year after year.
But on May 6, 2013, courage came from the most unexpected of places. On that day, it is little Jocelyn who sparks the great escape.
It's like, Mom, Daddy's car is gone. My heart immediately started pounding because I'm like, should I chance it? If I'm gonna do it, I need to do it now.
Amazingly, she finds her bedroom door unlocked. This is the one time that your room was not locked.
Never before in 10 years has that happened.
She races downstairs. The front door is open, but beyond it, a second door, padlocked shut. Still, Amanda manages to squeeze out an arm.
So I'm just waving my arm and I'm like, somebody please, please help me. I'm Amanda Berry, please.
She's too afraid to go back for Gina and Michelle.
I turned to Michelle, I'm like, we could run. But then once Michelle gets pumped, I talked her out of it.
Why'd you talk her out of it?
I thought that Amanda got caught.
Outside, a neighbor sees Amanda, but is afraid to intervene.
After I got to that door and the guy didn't help me, I was like, he's gonna come home and this is just gonna be the end.
That's when Charles Ramsey shows up.
I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. I go on the porch and she says, help me get out. I've been in here a long time.
He kind of started trying to pull on the door, but he couldn't get it open either. And so he kind of kicks it and he's like, there you go, finish kicking it out and you can get out.
With reckless courage, Amanda kicks her way to freedom and emerges, clinging to her terrified daughter. This is a cell phone image of that moment of freedom.
Cleveland 911, do you need...
Hello, please. Help me, I'm Amanda Berry.
You need police, fire, or ambulance?
I need police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years and I'm here, I'm free now.
Okay, and what's your address?
2207 Seymour Avenue.
2207 Seymour. Looks like you're calling me from 2210. Looks like you're calling me from 2210.
I can't hear you.
It looks like you were calling me from 2210 Seymour.
Yeah, I'm across the street, I'm using this phone.
Okay, stay there with those neighbors. Talk to the police when they get there.
Okay.
Okay, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay, I'm on the way right now.
We're going to send them as soon as we get a car open.
No, I need them now before we get back.
All right, we're sending them, okay?
Okay, I mean, like,
Who's the guy who's the guy who went out?
His name is Ariel Castro.
All right, how old is he?
He's like 52.
All right, and
I'm Amanda Berry. I've been on the news for the last 10 years.
Okay, I got that here. I already. And you said, what was his name again?
Ariel Castro.
And is he white, black, or Hispanic?
He's Hispanic.
And what's he wearing?
I don't know, because he's not here right now. That's
when he left, what was he wearing?
Sweetheart, it's a pity. What?
Right, the police are on the way. Talk to them when they get there. Okay?
Okay.
I told you they're on the way. Talk to them when they get there, okay?
All right, okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Knight and DeJesus accompanied the cops out of the house. This is the first time they have been in the Ohio Sun for the first time in 10 years. Castro was arrested and charged with aggravated murder, rape, and kidnapping. During his trial, he testified in his own defense and presented himself as an equal victim of his addiction to sex.
First of all, I'm a very emotional person, so I'm going to try to get it out. I stated before that I was a victim of sex acts when I was a child. This led me into viewing pornography for my whole life. Eventually, after I held jobs, because I always worked, what I'm trying to get is that these people are trying to paint me as a monster, and I'm not a monster. I'm sick. My sexual problem has been so bad on my mind that I'm impulsive. But eventually I married, had 4 children. Lived a normal life. But I still practice the art of touching myself and viewing pornography. I believe I am addicted to porn to the point that it really makes me impulsive, and I just don't realize that what I'm doing is wrong. I know it's not an excuse. I'm not trying to make excuses here, because I know when I told Dave that the sex crimes that I will be put away forever, I'm not contesting it. I've been a musician for a long time, maybe 25, 30 years. You know, to be a musician and to be a monster like you're trying to say that I am, I don't think I can handle that. I'm a happy person inside. I drove the school bus for 21 years. I did a very good job. Towards the end, I started slacking off, trying to get fired because I knew it was just too much. This job is too stressful, and coming home to my situation, you know, I just couldn't juggle both of them. But I never had a record until I met my children's mother. My son was on there the other day saying how abusive I was, but I was never abusive until I met her. And he failed to say that at the end, before she passed away, that them two weren't even talking. So what I'm trying to say is, what she's saying that I was a wife beater, that is wrong. Because this happened because I couldn't get her to quiet down. I would continually tell her, the children are right there, would you please? And she would respond with, I don't care if the children are there. And she would just keep going, and the situation would escalate until the point where she would put her hands on me, and that's how I reacted. I put my hands on her. I know that's. After living with her for 12 years, we separated, and then I was single for about 5 years. And that time, I continued to practice the art of masturbation and pornography, and it got so bad that I used to do it like maybe 2 or 3 hours a day, nonstop. And when I would finish, I would just collapse right there. When I picked up the first victim, I didn't even plan it that day. It wasn't something that they're trying to make it look like I did and I planned it and I was thinking about it. I didn't do that. That day I went to Family Dollar and I heard her always say something about she needed to get somewhere, and I reacted on that. But when I got up that day, I did not say, oh, I'm gonna get up and try to find some women, because it wasn't my character. But I know it's wrong, and I know I'm not trying to make excuses here. I know I'm 100% wrong for doing that. But I'm just saying, they're trying to say that I'm a violent person. I'm not a violent person. Like I said, I drove the school bus, I was a musician, I had a family. I do have value for a human life, because every time I came home, I would be so glad of the situation, as crazy as it may sound. And my daughter, she just made every day for me after she was born. She never saw any violence going on in that house, Your Honor. If anyone would question her, she'll say the opposite. She'll probably say, my dad is the best dad in the world, because that's how I tried to raise her in those 6 years, so she won't be traumatized or anything like that. She had a normal life in those 6 years. I tried to take her out into public to give her a normal life. Look, this is how it works. I would take her to church. I would come home and just be normal, like a normal family. These accusations that I would come home and beat them, those are totally wrong, Your Honor. Because like I stated before, I am not a violent person. I know what I did is wrong, but I'm not a violent person. I simply kept them there without them being able to leave. I know when I picked up the second victim, which was Gina, I don't understand how I passed up my own daughter to pick her up, because I was driven by sex. And no, I did not know who she was. I saw her walking with my daughter, but I did not know that she was related to the Jesus family. Because I know her dad. We went to school together. We didn't see much of each other at school, but I know him from school. Amanda, she got into my vehicle without even knowing who I was. I don't blame her. I'm not putting the fault on her, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to make up a point across that I am not a violent predator that they're trying to make me look a monster. I'm not a monster. I'm a normal person. I am just sick. I have an addiction, just like an alcoholic has an addiction. Alcoholics cannot control their addiction. That's why I couldn't control my addiction, Your Honor. But most of the sex that went on in the house, and probably all of it, was consensual. These allegations about being forceful on them, that is totally wrong. Because there was times that they would even ask me for sex, many times. And I learned that these girls were not virgins from their testimony to me. They had multiple partners before me. all three of them. But that's basically it. I just want to clear the record that I am not a monster. I did not prey on these women. I just acted on my sexual instincts because of my sexual addiction. And God is my witness. I never beat these women like they're trying to say that I did. I never tortured them. Finally, I would like to apologize to the victims, to Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus and Michelle Knight. I am truly sorry for what happened. To this day, I'm trying to answer my own questions. I don't know why. A man that had everything going on for himself. I had a job, I had a home, I had vehicles, I had my musical talent. I had everything going on for me, Your Honor. I have a good history of working, providing. I just hope they can find it in their hearts to forgive me. Because we had a lot of harmony going on in that home. And if you've seen the YouTube video of Amanda this weekend, that right there in itself proves that that girl did not go through no torture. That woman did not go through no torture. Because if that was true, do you think she would be out there partying already or having fun? I don't think so. I seen Gina through the media. She looks normal. She acts normal. A person that's been tortured does not act normal. They will act withdrawn and everything. On the contrary, I heard the opposite. She's happy. The victims are happy. I haven't seen much of Michelle because Michelle, since day one, no one missed her. I never saw no flyers out there about her. But I feel that the FBI let these girls down because when they questioned my daughter, you know, that's okay. But they failed to question me. I'm her father. If they would have questioned me in 2002 or whenever it happened that Gina was missing, it's possible that it would have ended right there. So, and also Dave forgot to mention that I did mention to him that I was addicted to porn, but I am truly sorry to the DeJesus family, Michelle, and Amanda. You guys know all the harmony that went on in that home. I ask God to forgive me. I ask my family, and I apologize to my family also for putting them through all this. I want to apologize to the state of Ohio, the city of Cleveland for putting a dark cloud over the city. I just want to apologize to everyone who was touched by these events. But I do also want to let you know that there was harmony in that home. There was harmony in that home. I was a good person being brought up. I never had a record. I just hope that they find it in their hearts to forgive me and to maybe do some research on people who have addictions. To so they can see how their addiction takes over their lives. So again, I'm sorry to all the victims. I'm sorry to my daughter because I know that, God bless her, she's a miracle child. And God bless the women too. But she, you know, there was times that when she was born, I know I could have taken her. That's why she's a victim also. I could have taken her to the ER, and I chose not to. Thank God that nothing happened, nothing bad happened. Because just last year she started getting toothaches. And I said to myself, I'm not going to let her die. Because I know an infection could possibly take her life. I was just, the situation, Your Honor, was just, right now, collecting words, but that's part of the problem that I have also. I'll start talking and I just go blank. So I apologize to you, Your Honor, for bringing this case even into your court. Again, thank you everyone, and I'm sorry for everything. I know the true judgment day is when God comes and judges me. But I've been reading the Bible, I've been praying, and I've been asking for forgiveness. And due to the fact that I do have a sexual addiction, I don't know how He's going to judge me. I don't know. The comment that the lady made for the DeJesus family at the end, that was uncalled for. So again, thank you everyone. Thank you victims. Please find it in your hearts to forgive me. Thank you.
You took 11 years of my life away, and now I've got it back. I spent 11 years in hell, and now your hell is just beginning. Castro was convicted and sentenced to life in prison plus 1,000 years. He spent a little over a month in prison, under much nicer circumstances than the ones he put his victims through. On September 3, 2013, he killed himself in his jail cell by hanging himself with his bedsheets. What Ariel Castro did to these women was horrendous. They didn't deserve what happened to them. Being held in captivity for 10 years by a predator is unimaginable. Please pray for their continued healing. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.